Well, welcome everyone to Happiness is Free, 3P Projects in Africa. It's truly inspiring to gather here to explore the incredible work being done by the African team. Over the past year and a half, Harry, Jim, Mark, and Shailia, alongside 9 dedicated African educators, have reached thousands of people across Africa, sharing a simple but profound message that love and happiness is accessible to everyone. Through projects in refugee camps, schools, and community programs, they bring the teachings of the 3 principles, guiding communities to find inner peace and oneness beyond difficult circumstances. Today, we'll hear about their experiences and the deep impact of this work, embodying the truth that happiness is indeed free. I've been watching on the sidelines and hearing about your projects, and I cannot wait to hear from you today. So please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Welcome to 3P in Africa. It started with a text. Magisha said to me, he wrote to me, and within 15 minutes, he had allowed me to come into the community. He was an inspiration. He was a leader. And he followed the energy. And he said to his most trusted colleague, Harry knows something that is going to help our community. And what Harry knew was that the 3 principles, as uncovered by Sydney Banks, would alleviate all human suffering because it had done it with me. And what Harry understood was that as a human being, there's spirit in the world, spirit that takes. And so we have seen something that astonishes us, the power of the 3 principles. Not the teachers, the power of the impersonal 3 principles. And without any marketing, without any money almost, we have proven that the 3 principles are more powerful than money. We have proven that. And every day, people come to me wanting trainings. Just yesterday, I was in Malawi. I don't even know where it is. I couldn't even pronounce it. And so we have 20 projects or so. No marketing. I don't know how people get to know about this, but they want to have something that answers this fundamental question. If I believe in God, why am I sad? And that question inspires them that within 15 minutes, they've got the principles. So we have an open crowd of people, a continent, where people want to know how to be happy. They want the money, but it distorts the picture. They want to know how to be happy because they already got the spiritual. It's very similar to your story, Derek, when he was in prison. There was an openness to where can I be happy? We have the answer. And the great thing is, Harry's not doing it. Harry's just part of the team, the leader of the project. Each of these members of the team that you're going to hear from, each one of them has been touched beyond compare. We have all grown from this collective energy. And we've been in there now 2 years, but at Christmas time. And we've just seen our hearts touched by the beauty of the people, the wisdom of the people. We see results beyond compare. A woman on the edge of suicide, and you talk to her for 15 minutes, and she becomes a coach. She has the level. She has the feeling. She just doesn't know what to do with pa. And so We have seen changes touched our hearts, and each one of my team are incredible. I'm calling us the leaders of the project. We are not. They are. We are taking students and becoming colleagues. And that inspiration has shown me something. Don't get in the way. Each of the members of the team have two things that are very unique. They have autonomy to do what they feel is right. I trust them because they care. And Dickon, for me, of course, the story was I was lost. And what kept me going? It's a good question. Caring kept me going. They care. And this caring keeps it pure. It keeps it pure. They have something else. They do the intimacy with the people. I go around, create, do things. I'm good at that. I'm good at evaluating. I'm good at picking horseflesh. But they're working on the intimate levels, day to day, bringing out feelings, working with people, supporting them. It's a little bit like AA. AA has a message, and then they have a support group. This is built into it organically. And the whole growth organically, no marketing. Jim Beck came up with a phrase, and we're going to see a slideshow in a few seconds, and it will show you what we're talking about, more than what I am saying. But he came up with a phrase when 3P started, and yes, there are 3 original students of Sid Banks in this team, before the psychologist came. And what Jim said, and when we were watching the emergence of the truth as uncovered by Sid Banks, our teacher and our friend, there was one project that inspired me beyond compare, and which I always considered the pinnacle of the project, and that was Modelo. It was unbelievable what happened in that community. It was just awe-inspiring. Jim calls what we're doing Modelo on steroids, and that is unbelievable to say, because that was unbelievable. All organic, all easy. No fights. These 4 people, we work together. We love it. We deal with things. We have an incredible skill set, all brought by God. So maybe now we could do the slideshow, Kate. Please have a watch of it. This is beautiful. And Shailia, I created the template, and then Shailia made it into what it is and made it beautiful.
Can you guys see it, Harry?
Yeah, very.
If the sound doesn't work, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, the music. They are the proof of the power of the three principles. And now I'd like to introduce the first talker, Jim Beck. We started 2 years ago. The team started off with 3 Muslim teachers, lady teachers, and myself, and it has evolved to this set of people naturally, organically again. And Jim works in 2 schools and with Shailia and he has autonomy. And that autonomy has created what he's going to be talking about. Go ahead, Jim. You're muted, Jim.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, thanks, Harry. I have a short time to speak. I couldn't begin to relate to any of this if I didn't go straight to the source, and that's Sydney Banks. And I've a little anecdotal story about Sid from way back in the early days, about 1975, I'll say. And there was a little group of us, I think another couple, and Sid and Barb, in our little log cabin, sitting in relative darkness because we had not had our power connected yet. And we were talking about travel and going to Hawaii and various dreams. And then Sid came out with a statement which I'll never forget. And it of course, becomes so pertinent here. And it was simply this: you know, it could be an African native in the middle of the jungle, all by himself, nobody else around. And he could discover his own enlightenment with one thought. And when I heard that at that time, who I was then, it was a big surprise that Sid was even talking about such a thing, let alone it sort of blew all my parameters about what society was all about. Imagine that outrageous thought, all by himself in the middle of the darkest jungle. If that thought comes, he becomes enlightened. And of course, the word enlightened, I was watching a Sid video a couple of days ago on sydneybanks.com, that wonderful service. And I heard Sid say, we all experience enlightenment when we pass into the formless. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. We're all on our journeys to our own enlightenment. It will happen in one thought, but it may take multitudes of lifetimes of journeys before we allow that one thought to appear. And that's what we teach in Africa. That's it. Who are we? Why are we here? Where did we come from before we were here? What happens to us when we leave? That's it. That is the oneness of humanity. And when we're talking about peace in the midst of chaos, we're talking about the oneness of all people, the oneness of all things. That is the peace that we're talking about in this particular forum. Something that's touched me on 2 occasions in the almost 2 years that I've been doing this. The first time I spoke to this group of children that my good friend Shailia and her husband Daniel work with in the Kidgum area of Uganda. There was a group of students in this remote village who had been victims of incredible violence and were lost and had no hope for anything. And Shailia made the comment to me after we had done this short talk, how great it was. And in fact, that I was the first white person that many of those children had ever seen in their lives. And it was me appearing on their Zoom screen. That touched me. And not that long ago, there was another comment, and I think it came from the Extreme High School, which is a relatively new project. And it was what they loved was they could learn and share with a white man. They have nothing. Many of them are orphans. Nobody's got a cell phone. Nobody's got a toy. Nobody's got anything to read. Nobody has anything to watch. There are no digital devices. What do? And they feel lost and beaten and unloved and unimportant. None of them were in school. They could not afford the fees for the school. The parents are not working. The parents are drunk. Rampant alcoholism. The biggest number of alcoholics per capita in the world, Uganda. How do they get it? They don't have harder drugs because they can't afford them. They make their own alcohol. Shailia and Daniel, working with about 50 families in this little village, every one of them is making alcohol in their kitchen every day. And they party at night. They would drive into the village the next morning with the only car around, and they would have to stop and pick up drunks lying on the street, lying on the road, let's not call it a street, dragging them out of the way so that they could enter the village. And in 1 year, none of those 50 families was making alcohol. I'm not saying they were all sober, but that's an astounding statement. Imagine the kids. The parents aren't home. The kids are in the little mud hut. They hear the parents come home. Do they run out to greet them? They run to hide. They're frightened. I remember the principal of the Adeti school, after a few weeks, telling about how the staff had changed so much that now when the kids were brought to school or arrived in school, they greeted them with hugs. They weren't getting any hugs. They weren't getting any hugs from mom and dad. No hope. And then, you know where the hope came from? The symbol of hope came from for them? In that first meeting that I had, one of the kids at the end, of course, none of them could speak English. One child could speak English. He's their interpreter. And this other one had some English. I've got a question. What's your question? It was the only real question that came. The rest were questions that were sort of prepared. Can you get us a ball? What are you talking about? What do you mean a ball? What kind of ball is this? A basketball, a baseball, a soccer ball? And before I knew it, I had grown within myself. Yeah, I can get you a ball. How many do you want? 4. Well, I don't know if I can afford 4. We'll have to find out. But I'll get you some soccer balls, and which I delivered on, and sent the money to Shailia, and she bought the 2 soccer balls and a pump to keep them pumped, and took them to these these children that they work with every Saturday. Hope. There were soccer balls of hope. Now they had something to do. Not only that, they had somebody who cared. And what did it do to me? It deepened my compassion. I was in unknown turf, actually sharing material goods. It seemed like it's an outside thing. They're happy about a soccer ball. They're happy about love. Months later, I made a call to Shailia, and she was in that field where they meet every Saturday. And one of her students had her phone. He said, "It's Jim." She said, "Answer it." He answered it. "It's Jim." The kids with the soccer ball all came running over to the phone. There was about 5 of them in the phone. They were all sitting there like a big selfie, grinning at me. I had no idea who they were or how to speak to them or what to say. And one kid had on a beautiful shirt because Sylvia and Daniel provide for them. They get things for them. I said, "I love your shirt." This kid, about 14 years old, a young boy, right into the camera without taking a beat. He didn't hear me right because of the English. "I love you too." That's why I do it. I grew again. I grew in that experience. I grew in seeing that child full of love and them running across the field full of love, full of hope. They're all going to school. From that group, it's 42 people are now sponsored through my own efforts, not my own money, some as my own, but and my wife, and we're not people that trust sending money to anywhere, let alone Africa. And there are no tax rebates, but there are 42 children going to school and getting a free meal every day and having hope in their futures. Their parents gathered one night and made videos thanking me for the opportunities that their children were getting that they hadn't had before. We can't do enough. There's 54 tribes in Africa. And from what I've been able to gather over these 2 years, they don't get along. They don't see the oneness in life yet. They don't, they're from a conditioning of separation, not union, not oneness. Anyway, my time must be up.
It's good, Jim. Thanks, Jim.
So I'm going to pass it over to who's ever next. And it's been a privilege to share about Africa with all of you people in the room. You people are part of a new wave. You're opening your hearts. And this is what you're opening your hearts to. And one last thing I want to say. When I was talking about Sid, he gave advice on various things. And one person said, "Sid, how do I get to enlightenment? How do I raise my level of consciousness?" And he had a pretty simple answer. It was share truth, listen to truth. Find someone you know that you trust and listen to them. And that's what we're doing in Africa. We're sharing truth. We're sharing what we trust that we've learned from Sydney Banks. And it's right on the money.
Right on. That's the beauty of it. Right on. It does the work. And it's proven to us that it does the work if you don't go ba and listen to all that stuff. Now we're going to move on. So that is Naka Valley, where it started in Uganda, 130,000 refugees from all different areas because of war. Where Jim is, orphans like galore. Everywhere, orphans like galore. They kill the parents, take them, almost slave labor type of thing. Now, in February of this year, I asked Mark to come into Kenya. And I didn't want to do this group, but they kept coming back. I said, no, I don't want to work with you. But they kept coming back. I want it. I want it. I want it. So I said, well, but I wanted to do it. And as soon as Mark came in, one project, and now we have 6 projects in Kenya. Beautiful projects. You'll hear a different caring, a different sharing. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Harry. I'm extremely honored and blessed to be part of this. Coincidentally, I was born in Kenya and spent a couple of years in Africa when I was a young man, and experienced Africa and the warmth of it and the beauty of the people, this simple joy of the people. And of course, so many of them have lost it a bit because of the turmoil and the old beliefs and the tribal beliefs that someone's better than somebody else. And there are many, many tribes in Africa. I think there are 54 just in Uganda, where you are, Jim. And I joined Harry and the team in primarily in Kenya, starting with the Kakuma refugee camp, which is an enormous camp of about, I think it's 230 to 300,000 people. And there's a couple of different parts of it, a Kakuma town and a Kakuma camp and a Kalobeye camp, and it's spread out over a big area. And initially I was working with a man called Mark, and we call him, I won't try and pronounce his name right now. And his story was so inspiring right off the bat. He's the one who kept in touch with Harry, even though Harry kind of didn't think they were interested enough, but he kept at Harry, and then Harry got me involved. And the story of Mark is that he came from Burundi with his wife and arrived in Kakuma, and they had a little baby. And 3 days after the baby was born, little baby girl, I've seen pictures of her, his wife was poisoned by his fellow church members, poisoned the mother, and she died. And Mark was extremely despondent, of course, and then he reflected on what Harry had shared with him about there is an answer inside us, and that we're spiritual beings. And he's so warm to that he forgave the people in his church and is to this day the secretary of the church. And so he forgave them. And I just feel such love for the man. He's only 25 years old. Most of these people are very young. And that's an extremely deep example. So he and I have been, since February, Harry and Jim and Shailia now, we're all getting up very early in the morning to share with these people because they're 11 hours, 10 hours away, and so we're getting up at 5 and 6 in the morning to meet with these guys. And so it's quite, but we don't mind because it's effortless. The sharing is so beautiful. They recognize the message we're sharing with them. They have a great feeling for God and the spiritual. And we're just helping them recognize that they each have this beautiful gift of thought to use wisely or not. And, to helping them go beyond the extreme challenges they have. They hardly have enough to eat, never mind anything else. They're living in little temporary quarters. The UN is giving them, I think, something like $10 or $15 a month to survive, and 1 kilo of some kind of bean or hardly any protein at all. They never see any meat. An example of this was that just recently at one of the meetings, a lady with a single mother of 5 little kids turned up at the meeting and had made a special effort to get there. And she was the only one aside from Mark and I. And there was an extreme water shortage. There aren't enough wells around in the encampment, and for 2 or 3 days they had no water, and everyone else in the group was out looking for water, going to other areas. But this woman turned up with one of her little babies because she felt it meant so much to her. So, we see such beautiful things. A man who had 3 bullets through his abdomen, who had every reason to be, and on crutches, every reason to be very unhappy with life and depressed. And they come in very depressed, and we help them. We just tell them they have this gorgeous thing within them. They can be happy. It doesn't matter what's on the outside. We can be happy. And their faces just within a meeting, within the meeting, start glowing. They're so glad to see us and come and share. That's a couple of, and another one is the Congo group. Fortunately, so we have what do we have with Mark? We have 2 groups. We have the Kukuma Women's Group, and we have the Congo group that he leads, where we're now in Goma, Congo, with a couple of little branches there, but primarily with a lady called Justine. You see the pictures, they have very little. They're just lined up against the side of their mud hut. And this little group in Congo has gone and visited just a day or two ago, some newly arrived new refugees, an incredibly rough looking little group of quite a few older people. And they're just a ragtag group and with nothing. And sharing with them, and Justine and her Congo group have shared with them what this can mean to them. The new refugees have said, "Oh, we'd be really interested in knowing more, and please come and see us some more." So this is how it's spreading. It's incredible. And then so we have those 2 groups with Mark, and then we have 2 more groups with Andre, right, Harry? And Andre is now has a Kukuma Town group, which is where the pastor is involved. And it's attracting people from, a lot of these people have come from Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, and there's hope that we're going to get into Burundi and Rwanda as well, because there's connections in the camp, and we're trying to keep them going with data. They don't even have money for data. Never mind little Wi-Fi pods, which would be ideal, but WhatsApp is just a blessing because it doesn't cost very much. They just need the data. They don't even need any, but of course, with larger groups, a bigger screen is better, like a laptop over a tiny little cell phone. But we're helping wherever we can, the 4 of us, and doing presentations. What was he going to say else? That we all know about going inside. Gideon in Nairobi is still a hope for Nairobi, with a bunch of businessmen there who are. And boy, Kenya's had rough times. They want to increase taxes, and nobody wants to pay more taxes, and the roads are in incredibly bad shape. And but so even a businessman like Gideon is he has his own orphanage that he supports. And Martha has an orphanage down in Homa Bay that she does it with Shailia, and Shailia's going to talk more about that, I'm sure. The Zahara books that Harry kind of channeled into or wrote, but somehow they're hitting home with quite a few people, helping them understand about love and forgiveness and hope. And what else can I say? Just they can get over their past. They can forget about their rough past and their present challenges and just be happy. And it's spreading everywhere. And we're just incredibly honored to be part of it. I've seen the effect in my own life that any difficulty in relationships or whatever, you're going deep to share with these people. And sharing is so beneficial to everybody. And it brings a peace in your own life. And then your own relationships get better. And it's just like it goes all around. So there, how's that for a bit?
Beautiful, Mark. Very, very beautiful. Great, great feelings. Yeah. And now we come to the newest member of the group, who is from Germany. So we have 3 original students living in Canada. And now we have Shailia came in, and just by osmosis. I saw her on she did from Germany, a podcast or webinar, and I reached out to her. Only person I reached out to in webinars and stuff, but I felt her energy. And she just picked up on the feeling. And with the feeling, she attracted a certain amount of money for the alcohol department. This alcohol department is amazing. I match it to anybody in 3P's alcohol department for results, for effect, for wisdom. And they go from village to village to village, along with having a little office that they can't afford, type of thing. And they're doing such amazing work. And then we have Homa Bay, an orphanage, 25% orphanage, basically with Martha, who was on the edge of suicide, and her grandfather, who's a bishop. This is amazing, guys. I was afraid of one thing in Africa. Are we going to be contested by the religion, the Christian religion, with what we're teaching? Not one murmur, not one murmur. Peaceful. And grandfather, who's the wisest of all wise, a bishop. This is higher than a pastor. He's preaching on Sunday about Jesus Christ and the 3 principles. He sees the similarity, the sameness. He sees past all the rhetoric. It's inside. It's alive. He already saw it before, but now he says everything is thought created. That's teaching that. It's beautiful. And Martha and Shailia bond. Phillips and Shailia, a bond. And she has brought a skill set that we needed, an aliveness. And you saw the video audio slideshow she has tremendous talent. She never actually became part of the team by an announcement. She just became part of the team. Go ahead, Shailia.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. Thank you, Jim and Mark. That was so beautiful. As you guys can feel, the 3P in Africa runs on love, and we love each other so much. Harry, I love you so much. Harry reached out to me to be on our podcast, and I said to Dickon, who is this guy? I never heard of him. He's reaching out to me. Can I trust him? And Dickon said, yeah, Harry's a good one. You can trust him. And they came, the Naki Valley Alcohol Department came to share in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And their wisdom touched everyone there. They captured my heart. And like Harry said, I'm spiritually connected to the team before I even knew it, and I'm just in it before I even knew it. And Harry, I wanted to just share with everybody how Harry briefed me on the first day that I found out I was in the team without him actually telling me. These are the guidelines that he gave me. I wrote them down so I wouldn't miss one. He told me, Shailia, this is how things work in 3P in Africa. Our mission is to put an end to human suffering. Everything we do is to that end. And I said, okay, check. I'm on board for that. He said, we must always remain faithful to the pureness of the 3 principles. It's the only way we can do what we do in Africa. And he never ceases to remind me of that ever since. He always said to me in the beginning, it's our goal to make everyone we meet a colleague. He said, understanding that they may surpass our level of consciousness at any moment. And I love that about our team. We see the African people as our equals, and we are friends, sisters, brothers together. He told me, you have a complete autonomy, Shailia. You can do and create whatever you want, as long as it originates from a positive energy within you. No ego bullshit. That's very Harry as well. He said, don't follow me or emulate me or what I do or anyone else. He told me right away, and he hasn't stopped reminding me ever since. You have your own unique personal connection to God or the Spirit. Nurture that. And he's really constantly reminding us of that. And it's one thing I really appreciate. He said, I only ask you to be yourself and share love. And oh yeah, if it's not fun, we're not doing it. And he's one of the best leaders I've ever experienced. And I've been in a lot of teams in corporate and 3P, everything. So I went out with that briefing, and I'm just going to share one experience that I had. And there have been so many, it feels like a lifetime instead of 3.5 months. Phillips, who's on this call, is the manager of the Naki Valley Alcohol Department. Hi, Phillips. He just had a baby boy. His name is Zebedee Alexander Tabaiva. I got to name him. Hi, Phillips. Phillips.
Hello.
Hi. Phillips goes out every single day of the week, Monday to Friday, with his team of 3 in the Naki Valley refugee camp. And Phillips sends me pictures every day of the beautiful sharing that he does with the communities that he's been doing for the last almost 2 years. And he inspires me every single day because he's just full of love and joy to share the understanding of the 3 principles with others. And he asked me one day, Shailia, will you come to a village and will you speak? And I said, sure, Phillips, because he had hyped it up so much that it was so much fun that I just thought I have to go. And I got to go on this cell phone, through his cell phone, because that's the way we do it. And I was there with the villagers, and he's asked me to talk about a couple of topics, but it always runs the same way, which is I share about, for example, the role of thought. Phillips translates to Swahili. We do the job together. Without him, there's no way I could communicate with the villagers. And because we love each other, we're in a deep feeling together. And the people are there, and they're so appreciative that we've come. I want to read you a sentence or two that I kept hearing again and again every time that I would share in the villages. They said, so for example, many times, thank you for not forgetting us, for making time to be with us. They said, please don't ever get tired of sharing 3P with us. And I thought, wow. And I would share, and then I would be finished, and there was a chair. There's always a chair, a blue chair. It's usually a blue chair. And every single person in that room gets up one by one, and they come to share with me. And that's because the Africans, they don't keep things that are good to themselves. They share it with others. And they told me about being in the Congo and having property, having cattle, having food to eat and medical care, their children going to school, being happy. And then a tribe conflict happening and people coming and taking everything away from them, and them fleeing out of fear, people having been killed, going hundreds of kilometers on foot with their families in total chaos. losing children along the way, coming to Naki Valley to find refuge. And they would tell me, it's safe here, but there's also hardship. There's not enough food. There's not enough shelter. There's not enough medical care. The kids don't have school. But that sounds dire. And here comes the hopeful part that I want you to hear, because everything there is hopeful. Then they saw something new. They saw they didn't have to think about how their life was before and how it is now and compare it and be unhappy. They stopped doing that. They call that overthinking. I don't want to overthink about the past. They stopped worrying about where the food's coming from in the future and how they're going to get a solid roof over their kid's head. They told me, I've learned that being in the now is the answer. And when I'm in the now, I feel happy. Now we're living happy. They were talking to me again and again about forgiving themselves and forgiving the people who had done them wrong, sometimes even living in the refugee camp with the people who they'd been in conflict with at their home. And they started connecting with love and understanding. And it's the most hopeful thing in the world. And I just felt full up with love. I'm a different person than I was 3.5 months ago. I'm not the same. They have changed me. And I want to end with this, this thing that came today, because I didn't know how to tell you all that the work in Africa doesn't run on the intellect. We do talk about things. We have to speak with each other somehow. We share wisdom. There are words, but it runs on love. And I couldn't figure out how love was changing everything the way that it had. And then I got something that got sent to me today. It's from Sydney Banks, from on my birthday, September 27th, 1975, a year after I was born. And it was a recording, and this is something that I heard. He said, "We all teach each other all the time. Don't ever be afraid of meeting someone who you think can help you. Welcome it with open arms. Shallow your silly little pride and say, you can help me. Maybe I can help you. We'll help each other." And this is one of the secrets to finding this place that we're all searching for. It's sharing. Share love. Sharing love is sharing knowledge, because pure love is knowledge. Pure knowledge is energy. Everything is energy. God is energy. So therefore, the purest energy in the world, which is God, is love, is knowledge. They're all one. It's no different. It's there. It's right about us all the time. It's in our very souls. It's in our bloodstream. It's everywhere. And to me, guys, this is the simplest and most straightforward secret to peace on earth. Share love. As we do in Africa, and as anyone can do, and which I hope you will. So thank you. I feel tremendously blessed and lucky to be a part of this team.
We'll open up to questions in a second, but this theme of love, which of course in North America and Europe is not so openly talked about, in Africa was a vessel that opened up. And a 13-year-old girl asked me, what is love? And she wanted to know the difference between the love of her boyfriend and the love of God. And so I wrote a book on Sahara Asks, What is Love? And Jim then did an incredible audio on it with African characters. It just came out of me. I wrote each chapter. It was all written in 2 weeks. Jim made this incredible audio, and they loved it. They love having a book in their hand, a spiritual book about love, and answers a practical question. What about my boyfriend? How does love relate to that? And then we created another book, Sahara Teaches What is Love, for a younger crowd. And the last 2 chapters, I paraphrased Sydney Banks' Dear Liza's story, because it depicted what they want to hear. And those books have gone through, and they're free for you as well. You can download, they're all free. We supply the books to the audience, to the schools, etc., through our own monies and stuff like that. And so download it free, or listen to the audio that Jim has created. It's free. And that's the difference in Africa. You see, Phillips is doing incredible work, but he can't get any money for it from Napa Valley. There's no money there. So we had to go to Germany, and the women cried. And then they gave and made a difference, the Phillips team. That is, he's working on the ground level. You can feel the 4 members here are lucky beyond compare. It was our dream, just like it was with Dickon and Derek, to share what we had inside of us. It was our dream, and it wasn't being fulfilled. And Sid said to me, if you have a thought and you hold on to that thought, it will come true. And at 65, I said, I guess he's wrong. It didn't come true. And then at 69, it came true. I said, oh, he's right. We'll open it up to questions, if there are any.
Yeah, please raise your digital hands if anyone has a question to the team. Paula.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this very moving presentation, and wonderful to hear about the work that you're doing. My question is, how do we download the book? Where do we go? How do we get it or hear it?
Yeah, it's a good question. You go to my website, acttraining.biz, and it's right there. The 2 digital books, and below it says audio, and you can download the audio or listen to the audio or read the digital or download the digital form. acttraining.biz.
.biz. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Harry.
And it's very easy. And there's lots of podcasts of Africa. And just to mention, there is 3P in Africa YouTube's channel and 3P in Africa Facebook thing. And with on the YouTube, there's this video, there's a documentary and different talks. And Shailia has created a section of life-changing stories, which Phillips is part of, and different people. So we have amassed an amazing amount of resource material. I am an educator. Resource material is a big part of what I do. Yeah.
Great to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love your energy, Paula.
Thank you. Caroline.
Hi. I'm blown away. I just love it. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing. That video just really touched me. I've been to different parts of Africa, like the Mayan villages, and yeah, I just think it's absolutely incredible what you're doing. Like I don't have any words to kind of explain it, but I love how you have shared it from a grassroots, like from the community. I love the word organic, and just letting it unfold naturally. It really is beautiful, and I can feel every single thing that every single one of you has shared. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that, and for sharing hope 100% for definitely other communities. That was it. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks, Caroline. Naomi, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something?
I was going to ask the same question about the how to access the books. So
Okay.
that was answered, but thank you, and thank you for the work that all of you are doing. It's incredible.
It is, and we're as amazed as you are.
Deacon.
Oh my. Oh my. All of us need reminders that love is the answer. And I guarantee you, if you look at any of these materials, you'll suddenly come back to that simplicity. That's the beautiful thing about what Harry and his team are doing. They're teaching this from their hearts in the simplest way possible. And it's immediately resonating with people who are in the worst of worst situations. I'm glad Phillips is here. He's an inspiration to me. I think we have a mutual admiration society going. If you can find some of the videos of people from these villages sharing, or people from Phillips' group at the alcohol department sharing, you'll be touched in your heart. And if you get touched in your heart, it's as simple as sharing that with other people. That's how you keep this project going yourself, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. I think of the phrase that kept coming to me as people were speaking too, was be ye renewed in spirit. And that's what it's all about. Discovering and dropping into this very available, present, always spiritual place. And the other thing you realize very quickly if you listen to this sharing is that none of us are really the teacher's wisdom is, and it can come through anybody, anywhere, anytime. And you listen to the folks in Africa sharing what they've shared. I've had the great honor of being able to be involved in a number of those sharings and a fundraiser we did at Christmas. And I'm just so struck by how when people talk from love, fear falls away. Or when fear falls away, there's nothing but love. And to see just how simple that is available to every single one of us. We're all refugees in that sense. We've been refugees from spirit. And we can come home, tap into that feeling, and as Sid would say, then give it away. Just give it away. So I can't thank the 3P team enough for the humility with which they have approached this project and not taking credit for anything themselves and giving all credit to that universal love and wisdom. So thank you, team.
Thanks, Deacon. Anyone else want to say that? Rika?
Yeah, my name is Rika. I want to ask if there is something we can do to support that team in their work.
We have two GoFundMe accounts, one for the alcohol department and one for all the projects. Or you can send the money direct to me using if you write to me, I'll send you my how to do it by PayPal. 100% of the money goes to them. Not 1 cent goes in any sense goes to any. It is 100% goes to where the need there is, and the need is big, as you understand, Ricky. And we have so much. One of the humbling experiences all of us have gone through. None of us felt rich. But once we went to Africa, we felt rich. You know, it's a different proportion or relativity. Please help us, but only
is it possible to share the link somewhere in the
Are they
chat
on
or
your
something?
website, Harry?
I just posted the chat, the Harry's website and the GoFundMe link to, I think, to Kate, and Kate is gonna, I think, share it with you guys.
Yeah, so you could either send the money to myself through PayPal or the GoFundMe accounts, and it changes their life. Phillips, who is here, the whole department took off with what Shailia created. It was amazing. They did all this work, this incredible healings, starving. Sometimes they came to me, we haven't eaten for days. But they put it out, just like we did on Salt Spring. We put it out. We set out what we felt. But the difference here is when you don't have anything and you share, it attracts love. And love is the answer. So please, whatever you can do, we would appreciate it. We have deliberately kept it quiet in that front because I didn't want money to distort the project. But we are emerging now. It's another stage, and they have needs and wants. Phillips has dreams. You know, he has an office. He wants a computer. They travel from village to village, and we have to, with the donations, we have to pay each time they travel on motorcycle. They would like a motorcycle. It would actually save the project a ton of money, type of stuff. But of course, before, we didn't even think like that. But now it emerged. It's funny. Money distorts, is the root of all evil. It films the source. And yet, at a certain stage, it provides a vitality. And I have had to open up to that.
Wonderful. And thanks, Kate, for sharing the link. Everyone can see it in the chat.
Let's see it. What does it say?
It's the GoFundMe and your website, Harry.
Yeah, I'll put just a sec. If you use PayPal, how do I get to use this thing? How do I mess?
You can write it directly to Kate, and then Kate can share it with all
Yeah,
of us.
okay, yeah, I'll send that to Kate, and I'll give you my email for the PayPal, and then it goes direct into my bank, and then it automatically, and you get in Uganda currency or Kenya currency or Congo currency goes to them. Enough money though.
Harry, I would add that Harry is extremely good at only using the money only for 3P, very 3P oriented purposes. Africa has so many needs and wants, but this is going to that.
Exclusively for 3P projects, anything that fuels the 3P thing, and occasionally something else. When Mugisha, who was the beginning of the person that literally created this whole movement, he died after 6 months in a car crash. But his dream was to have a library. And so one doctor from New York donated money for that library that you saw that was created. That was the one project in honor of him that was, but you could see it's 3P related since books are in there and a few other books as well. So it's used every day by the kids, by the people. But so primarily data, transportation, and then at Christmas, we'll do another fundraiser so that they can have some food. Some of them have not eaten meat in 10 years. And so the last year we raised $98 per project, Canadian, which is like $2 American. But anyway, that's another story. And it's about $60 and 50 soccer balls. And what we found was the food was really appreciated, but as Jim mentioned, boy, those soccer balls sure created a lot of goodwill. Yeah. You can see it's a lot of fun. We're traveling to Africa every day of the week, and it's great. Shailia's life, she's kind of a prim and proper person, and there she is in the mud, cleaning, etc., type of thing. Jim said, "Oh no, I'm never going to help in anything financially or anything." Once his heart started to open up, oh, I guess I could give a little here and a little there. Mark the same with me. But we are very, very tough on how we distribute it. We want it to be money is money, and Africans love free money, but it has to serve a purpose.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful listening to you. It's been so inspiring. You spoke about the feeling in the beginning, Harry. I know that I can speak for myself. I'm feeling it deeply and feeling so inspired. I hope it's the same for everyone. We're going to continue with questions and answers. So if anyone has something, we're going to stay here and be open.
This was Sid's dream. The only sadness I have is I wish he would be alive now to see this incredible dream. He gave everything for us. And when I faltered and so on and disappointed him, he never gave up his loyalty to me. It means a lot to me. But I knew one thing. He had the ultimate answer to alleviate human suffering. That I knew. And it's been very easy. It's just for whatever the reason. You see, Sid said, psychology didn't choose me. No, I didn't choose psychology. It chose me. I did not choose Africa. It chose me. And it was an innocent little, I'm on Facebook. Magisha comes on Facebook. And we start to text, no, not words, text. We start writing back and forth. And in 15 minutes, he had invited me into Naka Valley refugee camp. And it was totally different than what I see on TV. Had no relevance at all. There's a whole other world there. It's the oldest refugee camp in the world. It had villages. Sudan village, they speak French, Swahili. Most of my teaching is in Swahili. Dick and I did a sharing together in Swahili. And it was beautiful.
Well, we didn't speak Swahili.
Oh, I know 3 words, Dick, in Swahili. Yeah. Habari, hello. Asante sana, thank you very much. And Yajinga, bullshit. And I talk a lot about Yajinga.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Since I am an expert in Yajinga, I feel I can talk about it.